Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another episode of the strategy series. This time we're going to talk about how to counter Vegeta Baby. So this was a deck that was very powerful before the kind of influx of Super Shenron into the game. Before that, Red was in a very good position. It had a lot of answers to Skillus, it had some decent answers to Green Broly, and coming off the format prior, Red Vegeta Baby and Red Pan were just super strong decks. They were topping a lot of events, doing really well, and the insurgence of Super Shenron kind of put these decks on the back burner. They weren't really playable in the face of Super Shenron, but now that that card's gone, now that that leader's gone, and that deck is pretty much dead, this deck is going to be a lot stronger, a lot more playable, and I think it's going to be one of the best contenders you're going to see next format. So I want you guys to be prepared for it. I want you guys to know kind of how it plays, and I want you guys to know what cards kind of counter it. But if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date while awesome videos I upload just like this one. So with that being said, we're gonna get right into this video. So real quick, guys, if you don't know what the Vegeta Baby does, it's been like a format or two since you've seen it. When this card attacks leader card, draw one card, activate main, choose one card in your life, add it to your hand, and choose as one of your opponent's battle cards and decrease it by 5,000 power. So this card has answers to basically any one drop in the game that's 5k or less, which most are. So it answers a lot of like one drop floodgates like Borgos and Whis. It answers the skillless one drop, which is really powerful. Awaken, untap 2, Sand Power, Vegeta Baby, attack, draw card, activate main, decrease one of your battle cards by 15,000, and decrease 2 of your opponent's battle cards by 10,000. There's a lot of neat combos that this deck can do with that. They can steal your stuff with Ginyu. They can basically kill yourself with other reducing power effects. They can kill as big as a 30k. So lots of powerful effects with that, in tandem with their other baby chain. So really powerful leader. They have access to a lot of powerful cards, especially like After Image Technique, Is That All You Got, and Revenge Death Ball. So those are all things you have to worry about when you're playing against this deck. It's a very aggressive deck, but it's also a very controlling deck. Slightly more controlling than aggressive, but with things like Chain Attack into, you know, Burst Attack Go On, another aggressive 15ks, this deck can go pretty wide, pretty fast, and go pretty aggressive. So with that being said, like I said, you do want to play around those 3 specific extra cards: After Image, Is That All You Got, and Revenge Death Ball. This deck can punish you really bad for swinging incorrectly. Like, let's just say you already have an established board, or you start establishing a board before swinging with certain cards. They have a lot of 1 for 2 negates or 2 for 3 negates, in the sense that 1 negate gets off 2 attacks or 3 attacks with an extra card added onto it. So they're going to punish you really hard for doing things incorrectly and sequencing incorrectly. So it's up to you as a player to know the proper sequencing and how to not lose to those specific cards that reduce your power and kill your battle cards. So with that being said, with a little bit of the play style out of the way, we're going to talk about specifically what cards you can play to hinder the Vegeta Baby strategy. So first card we have is Dark Power Black Mass Sand. Now you might be thinking, well, the Unawakened Leader just answers that card by taking a life, and that is very true. This card is not advised to play early on in the game. However, once Vegeta Baby gets onto the backside, they have to jump through a few more hoops to get rid of this card very easily. You know, a lot of times if they don't have an established board yet, or if they have like a weak guy that's only 15k itself, they're not going to want to get rid of the 15k without attacking with it first or doing something like that. So when they're on the Awakened side, Dark Power Black Mass Sand's a little bit better, and the only reason it's really good in this deck is because a lot of Vegeta Baby lists do play Chain Attack. They Chain Attack into Burst Attack Gohan, they Chain Attack into Body Change Ginyu, they'll Chain Attack into their 2-drop Vegeta if they're going to go for the Baby combo. So this card is decent in those situations. Not the first card outside by any means, but if it's your only budget option, it is an option for you. Crisis Crusher is kind of like in a similar boat because there's another 5k they can pretty easily answer, but if you drop it out there on their Awakened side, it makes them a little bit harder to do their baby combo. If they want to just leave 1-drops out there, they can't really leave Intensifying Power Trunks out there, which is kind of nice. Also, if they go first, if the Vegeta Baby player goes first and they drop the 1-drop on the board just to try and be cheeky and go for a turn 2 Great Ape combo or a turn 2 Chain Attack, your Crisis Crusher will answer that 1-drop. You know, if you're not playing the Vegeta Baby leader, odds are you don't have as easy of an answer to a 1-drop as Vegeta Baby has itself. So Crisis Crusher is actually a decent go second card in those types of instances, but that's against more of a greedy Vegeta Baby player. Next up, Tien Shinhan turning fire. Who knows what blue-red builds we might see coming up in the future with the advent of Senzu Bean and some multicolor cards coming out in the future, maybe some blue-red stuff in the future. But in the meantime, you know, this stops any Senzu Bean builds, but what it also do is it's basically a 1-drop 15k attacker. If you're playing a strategy that you know needs to go aggressive against Vegeta Baby, I like this card a lot for that reason. Tien Shinhan obviously is really good against Genba and mono blue strategies, but against red decks, especially like Frieza Prison and other decks you want to be aggressive against like Pan, this card is just a 1-cost 15k attacker, and that's a really undervalued effect in the game right now. People are kind of overlooking that. This card's incredibly powerful against red if you need to be aggressive, so keep that in the back of your mind. Next one's gonna be Mira Creator Absorb. So most red builds, from what I've seen and from what the metagame has told us, is that they're gonna main deck After Image Technique for a few reasons. One of which, it's the biggest counter to Height of Mastery and Victory Strike. Second reason, it's their Sparking Negate, so it has a little bit more flexibility than Is That All You've Got. So basically, Mira Creator Absorb is the only card that really makes After Image Technique bad. It's the only card that gets around that card, because in every other instance, After Image Technique is gonna be just as good as a negate in most cases. But Mira Creator Absorb can get so big that it can actually kill a Vegeta Baby player through an after image technique. So if they don't have that hard negate, you can kind of punish them for that. So that's kind of the black line up there. Now we have some blue cards. Sensu Bean is one I want to talk about because it helps you get around those decreasing power effects. So let's say you're attacking with 15k attacker towards your opponent's Vegeta Baby leader, and they have the Revenge Death Ball just ready to go, raring to go. You play a Sensu Bean on your 15k attacker, and well, the power from Sensu Bean gets added onto that attacker immediately, so Revenge Death Ball will not KO it. It'll take them 2 Revenge Death Balls or some other power reducing effect to KO that battle card. So really good in those types of situations. Next up, we have Mafuba. This is going to be the biggest answer to something like the grade 8 baby combo. Really powerful. Another card I want to talk about that I'm going to bring up on screen right now. I can't believe I forgot them. Dimensional Banisher Fu and the 6-drop Bardock Fully Unleashed. These cards are other great answers to the grade 8 baby. Dimensional Banisher gets rid of it for 1 energy and 5 out of your graveyard. It's also flexible in a lot of other matchups, which is why you might decide to main deck Dimensional Banisher. But if you're just looking for side deck options, Bardock Fully Unleashed is amazing because it gets rid of the baby combo, as well as the green Broly chain, the 8-drop that pops all your stuff. Really good cards there. Next up, Zeno the Playing God. Just another way to basically deal with the Vegeta Baby deck, because they're going to go really wide on the board while usually keeping a pretty well-sized hand, like a 8, 9, 10 card hand, while having like a 3, 4 battle card board. So Chain Zeno is another great way to stop them. Even if they have the grade 8 baby on board, you summon the chain attack, and it's going to lose 10k power or 20k power, so it will get KO'd or will go to the drop area. Not technically KO'd, but you'll still be able to summon the Zeno. Nothing about chain attacks getting negated, so you can still summon the Zeno, that you get to keep your Zeno, and then your opponent has to reset their whole board, which is really powerful. Shocking Death Ball is another type of card that can punish them for playing 1-drops and 2-drops very early, just like the 1-drop baby. If they sequence improperly, you can then punish them for sequencing improperly, which is really powerful. Same thing with the SS Vegeta Exploding with Energy. Just punish them for dropping those 1-drops way too early, get them out of the board. Just deal with those like that. Another very flexible card that I always think about, it always seems underwhelming, but it always seems like it answers basically any situation you could think of, and that's Sun Goten, Family of Justice. So this card, basically, for 1 energy, you can deal with any 3-drop or less, and there's a lot of those in the Vegeta Baby deck, especially Burst Attack Gohan. A lot of times, the Vegeta Baby player is going to be reliant on chain attacking and a burst attack. That's going to be their biggest form of kind of aggression for that crit and draw 2, especially if they're trying to be aggressive, combo a bunch of their hand into a chain attack, and then redraw with a burst attack. So Sun Goten, Family of Justice can just, for 1 energy, KO that kind of card, that burst attack Gohan, that's just refueling their resources constantly. So Sun Goten, Family of Justice is definitely something to consider. Sand Teamwork Kaba. This is here to represent veggies as a whole. Typically, red, mono red, and like Vegeta Baby in general are very good against aggro because they're negates. Is That All You Got kills 2 15ks. After image technique can just reduce something by 10, and then you have Revenge Death Ball to get rid of any more 15ks. But Sand Teamwork Kaba and the veggie package, they can kind of overwhelm the Vegeta Baby deck to a point where all those reducing battle powers aren't going to do enough. Like, you might have an Is That All You Got, but that's not going to do anything to 2 Cauliflas, right? 2 20k Cauliflas or a 20k Kale. So not going to do enough. Really powerful to consider, especially if you want to play aggro this format. I think Veggies is one of the best picks. Broly Limit Transcended, representing the green Broly deck. This is kind of a back and forth type of strategy. I think it's about 50-50 going either way. Maybe slightly in favor of Broly, because they can kind of be too fast to overwhelm the Vegeta Baby players. They can answer any board Vegeta Baby puts out, and a lot of their big drops are not going to be affected by the grade 8 baby. And if you can aggro the Vegeta Baby deck, you're going to be in a good place. Revenge Death Ball doesn't do too much to the deck, because if you just get rid of one of their dudes, they can rank up into another guy. And it's going to be really strong in that regard. Body Change Ginyu. This is one of the strongest cards in the Mira match specifically, but it's also really good in red in general if you can reduce power. Because what you can do is you can like steal parts of their baby chain and evolve over it. You can also reduce their 6-drop itself with like your leader in the mirror match, and then you can Body Change Ginyu. It'll go up to 25k. It won't be KO'd by the baby ape, and then you can steal it with the Ginyu. So that's really powerful. And then 2 strong yellow cards against this. There are plenty more, I'm sure. We've got Cold Bloodlust and Crusher Ball. Cold Bloodlust is generally known to be very strong against red decks. Red decks have lots of just battle cards that come down and have super powerful effects, like Foreseeing Hit, like any of the Vegeta Baby cards, like Chain Attack. So Cold Bloodlust just answers a lot of those cards in that strategy. Definitely something to consider if you're playing a leader that can play Cold Bloodlust. You might want to max out on it if you expect a red heavy format. And then finally, guys, Crusher Ball. Once again, another huge answer to the Baby Ape combo. Crusher Ball any of the pieces in the chain, and then they're going to lose out on that draw when they want to attack with the grade 8 baby. Really powerful stuff there. So guys, once again, I can't stress how important enough it is to sequence correctly against the Vegeta Baby deck. You have to play around those Revenge Death Balls. You got to play around those power reducing negates. Like, let's just say, for example, you have a threat with barrier and a threat without barrier on your board, and then you have your leader swing, right? Well, what would you swing with first when your Vegeta Baby opponent has an open red energy, right? They might have Is That All You've Got? So if you attack with your leader first, they're going to stop your leader attack, and then they're going to use the Is That All You Got to basically discard a card, reduce the other 15k threat on your board to 0. They've stopped 2 attacks for 2 cards, but they've only had to go through 1 battle. The smartest thing to do would be to attack with your non-barrier threat first, because if they want to Is That All You Got it, they're gonna have to, and they want to KO it with Is That All You Got, they're gonna have to discard a card and then reduce it to 15k, and then they're not gonna stop your barrier threat, or they're not gonna stop your leader threat. Swinging with your barrier threat first there would also be incorrect for the same reason as swinging with your leader, because they're just gonna get rid of a card and get rid of your 15k threat, right? So there's just a lot of instances like that. Whenever you're playing against a red deck like Vegeta Baby or Pan, or like a green deck like Broly that can pop your battle cards in on defense, you need to be very, very aware of what you're swinging with first and how it's going to impact you and what your opponent's going to do. It really helps to actually play these decks too, get a feel for what they do, how they play, what they want to accomplish on their turns and on their opponent's turns. This way you can kind of learn how to play around it. But yeah, guys, that's going to be this video. Let me know if you guys have any better cards in the comments below. Let me know if you guys have any better cards that counter Vegeta Baby. If you like the video, make sure you subscribe, give this video a like. That would really help the channel out a lot. Check out the Patreon in the description below if you want to get that competitive edge in Dragon Ball Super, learn a lot more about these types of decks. I do have a Vegeta Baby article up there that talks about how to counter the matchup. And finally, guys, if you're looking for a Dragon Ball Super community, check out the Discord in the description below. Amazing group of people. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.